All right, so I think we should be live now. All right, everyone. This is Willie Goldberg here from Land Investing Pros, and we've got Brent Daniels here. And so, just a little background. I've been doing real estate for a little while now, and when I first got started, I started listening to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, and that's really the first time I got introduced to Brent. And so I heard him on that podcast. He's a great host and does a lot of good work with them. So he's the TTP guy. If you guys can't see from your background or from his background. So seems like a great guy. First time talking with him. Yeah, so that's a little background, Paul. And I guess if you guys are interested in the land investing niche, we've got a new comprehensive course out on land investing. You can go to landinvestingpros.com. If you're interested, you can find more information about us and our course on there. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Paul, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So Brent, it's a pleasure to have you on here. So Brent Daniels is the creator of the Advanced Wholesale Training TTP. He runs a multi-million-dollar wholesaling business out of Phoenix, Arizona. And he has coached tons of people with a simple and effective strategy on how to get on the phone and talk to motivated sellers. Brent, is that a fair introduction?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, really, really excited to be here. Really excited to get any, I guess we're live, so we could get comments or questions or whatever it is. But basically, the foundation, the philosophy that I have for business is you need to talk to people. Every single day, we need to be talking to new people. I don't care if it's land. I don't care if it's houses. I don't care if it's manufactured homes, whatever it is, whatever your niche is, whatever you're going after, you need to be consistent. You need to be proactive and talk to people every single day. And it just depends on which strategy you want to do. Do you want to do it through marketing where people are calling you? Do you want to do it through referrals where you're like the guy or gal in your area that people send deals to? Or the third way is earning it by picking up the phone and cold calling, which is what I promote, because I like keeping the vast amount of the profits. And you could do that if you're not spending 20, 30, 40, 50% on your marketing campaigns, and you got to keep more by being proactive. So boom, let's go, guys.
Love the energy. Love it. So for those of you that have not been following you and your story for a while, can you kind of share with our viewers your background and like what was your motivation, like how you fell into real estate, and then I guess specifically house wholesaling?
Yeah, you know what? In 2003, this is how crazy it is, right? So I'm 38 years old now. So in 2003, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and my little tiny peanut brain exploded, right? I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Right? You don't have to get a job. You can be a business owner, an investor. You can have freedom of schedule. You can have this thing called cash flow. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Little did I know that you don't have to get your real estate license, which I did. You don't have to become a realtor like I did. You don't have to do all these things to get educated in this business. You just need to go out and start doing some deals and talking to distressed property owners. Because when we're talking about, so that kind of led me. I'm just giving you the quick little version here because people really don't care. People just want to know that they can ask questions and get some value out of this. So I want to give them instruction. I don't want to just get into this long story about me. But basically, I found wholesaling, and it was absolutely incredible. And wholesaling is basically just sourcing real estate opportunities. That's all it is. You lock up a property and you sell that contract, or you sell the rights to that property to a cash buyer. And I've been doing that for over 7 years now, 2012, and it's just been life-changing. It absolutely has been life-changing, and an incredible business. So I encourage anybody. Real estate is hitting the lottery. Real estate is a money machine. So it just depends on what you want to do and where you want to put your efforts. But it's incredible, and I've been really, really, really fortunate to read that book and kind of follow that path.
I kind of had like a similar path. Like I think that was the very first like entrepreneur book that I read, and then it was How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then you kind of just go down that path of like the classic books that you read, and then you're like, okay, now what is the opportunity that I'm going to seek? So I definitely relate with that big time. So you kind of gave a quick synopsis of what house wholesaling is. Can you talk about why you chose house selling over other niches? And did you ever look at land investing? I know it's kind of like a loaded question.
Yeah, well, we've been wholesaling land deals for the last year and a half, and we got really interested in it because it's a blue ocean. Nobody goes after vacant land.
Yeah,
I mean, truly, nobody goes after vacant land. Now, when we look, what's that?
Why do you think that is? We like, why do you think no one's going after? We have like our reasons, but like, from your perspective, why is it that no one's going after land?
A couple different strategies. Obviously, you've got a bigger pool of buyers for houses. And so most people are going to go after where is the biggest demand? Can I get properties that have some sort of dwelling on it and be able to either rent it out, get cash flow, or flip them, or wholesale them out? So it's been really interesting. We lock up properties here in town in Phoenix for, let's say, 70,000, and then we'll assign that deal. And this is just kind of getting a little technical with wholesaling, and I'll break it down. But basically, you get a contract on a property for 70. I find a buyer that wants to pay 90 for it, and I give them the rights to purchase it at 70. They give me 20,000 in what's called an assignment fee. And so that's what we've done time and time again. We talked before we jumped on here live that, maybe 100, 150 deals, land deals. I mean, we did some way out in the outskirts, and that was a lot tougher to assign all those and to wholesale those. It's a lot easier to close on them and then resell them. But we wanted to test our mettle. We wanted to see if we could build up enough land buyers to be able to do that, which we were, and it was pretty exciting. So, but smaller deals, with wholesaling traditional houses, we make $27,000 a deal.
Wow.
And with the land stuff, it was more like 2,700. You know what I mean? So it's like a tenth of the price. So, not a huge focus, but it was something that we were really interested in. And you can get so many, you can get a lot of deals. You can get a deal a day, which I think you guys are doing.
Yeah. So you chose the house wholesaling just because the profit margins in the way that you're running it are higher?
100%. Yeah, the profit margins. I like cherry picking the best deals to keep for myself. And I just have more interest in it. But we got into the land side, and it was interesting, but just not nearly the size deals that we're used to.
For sure.
Cool. And so maybe if we can dig into your strategy as a wholesaler a little bit, to start, how do you source these properties?
Well, there's a lot of different. I mean, listen, there's so much public.
I feel like I know based on your background, but I just want to ask.
Well, yeah, of course. But here's the thing: like, if you look at every single property in your county, whatever county you're going at, right? You have to the first filter is you have to find some sign of distress, right? Because if there's some sign of distress, or if there's a problem that property owner has, then they will trade speed and convenience for equity. Okay. And that's what's huge, because that's where we make the income that we do. So you look for signs of distress. So that could be a lot of different things. That could be pre-foreclosure. That could be tax default. That could be just simply driving around town and looking for rundown properties, right? Driving for dollars is what that's called. It could be that they just inherited a property. It could be that, it's a landlord that's owned it for a long time and they're just tired of being landlords. There's so many different indications of distress. And then you filter those out. And then what you do is you get a list of all these property addresses and all these owners, and you do something called skip tracing. Okay. And you skip tracing, and that means you get the accurate phone number. I use batchskiptracing.com. It's super easy. They have really accurate numbers, and that's huge. You need really accurate data. And once you have that data, then you call them. You pick up the phone and you call them. And now it's 2020. So you can load it into a computer and it calls for you. And when somebody answers, you're talking to them. And now you're talking to 10, 15 distressed property owners every single hour. I am telling you, if you have enough quality conversations with distressed property owners, it is impossible for you not to get deals. Impossible. So that's it. We pick up the phone, we call them.
Cool. And so I know Paul and I, we actually tried we did some cold calling for land in the past, and it worked like a charm. Literally, we spent 2 hours doing it, and we got 2 deals within those first 2
Brother,
hours.
I am telling you, I tell everybody to call vacant land. Nobody does it, and I think it's so silly because
it was the easiest thing of all time. Yeah, we did it for a couple hours, made a couple deals, and then we did the next day, got a deal. So unlike house wholesaling, direct mail works like a charm because it's much less competitive niche as you were referencing. But why?
Yep.
So for a competitive niche like house wholesaling, why is picking up the phone and calling people? Why is that a better way to source property than maybe direct mail or driving for dollars?
It comes down to the numbers, guys. I mean, truly, it for in Phoenix to get a deal, and this is my own results. This is networking with the top guys, share each other's KPIs or results or whatever you want to call it, the numbers. And it's about $9,000 a deal to get a deal from direct mail, and about $9,500 from pay-per-click, right? Okay. So it makes sense if you get $30,000 a deal, but now you have people that you've got people on your staff, you got overhead, you got commissions. Now all of a sudden, out of that $30,000 deal, you only keep $5,000 or something. You know what I mean? You have to do 20 of them to change your life every month, and that's just not going to happen because then you have to spend $200,000 a month in marketing. So anyway, it came down to very basic. How do I net the most amount of money? And that is be proactive, pick up the phone.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. It makes sense how you source the deals. And so I guess what's kind of your main strategy for selling them? So we, as land investors, we're selling these at retail to, we're not selling to businesses. We're not selling to developers. We just sell to people who want to buy and develop land or move on land or invest in land. So who are you selling your properties to, and how do you market to sell your properties?
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, you build up your cash buyer database. In every market, there's going to be people that are buying properties cash for 3 different reasons, right? One, most likely they want to flip it. They want a property they can flip in an equity market. Now, there's definitely some cash flow markets out there where the prices of properties are anywhere from $70,000 to $150,000. You can get $900 to $1,800 a month for rent. Like, that's not the way it is in Phoenix. That's not the way it is in San Diego or New York or Chicago, or, there's just not really great cash flow markets. So most of the people we sell to want to flip them. We have some people that want to build up their portfolio of properties that they own and keep in their just to build assets and keep it in their portfolio. And then we have, the third is people that actually want to live in these properties that we sell to. So we always make sure that they're cash buyers. It doesn't work with conventional financing. They have to be cash buyers. And it's amazing, guys, how many cash buyers are in every single market, because, I mean, we work with, our list is about 6,000 deep. We have people in our market that have 80,000 people deep lists. What we do is we get a property under contract. We get incredible pictures. We write out exactly what's going on with the property, and then we email it out. And usually we sell them. 85% of the properties we sell sight unseen, because people trust that we put out really good deals. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. And so, yeah, I mean, you mentioned something pretty powerful there is your buyers list. And so it works the same in our niche and your niche. The bigger your buyers list, the easier it is to market and sell these properties. And we really preach that because it's so important to really build up that list, because that's really what works for Paul and I to sell properties. I guess, what are some strategies you leverage to?
Well, you had said, Willie, William, what do you prefer?
Willie.
Willie. All right, Willie, you had said that you put it on the market. Do you actually put it on the MLS?
So we do for some of our more expensive properties, but for the most part, we do not.
Okay, so you're selling them directly to your buyers list,
right?
Awesome, same business. Yeah, it's the same business. I mean, that's really the true asset. And when you're building this thing, I mean, don't get it twisted, guys. Anybody listening, this isn't something that you build and you sell this business. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing you can really, the main asset is the people that are going to buy your properties, buy your deals. That's where you get the most. That's where you go from averaging 5,000 a deal to 10,000 to 20 to now 27 is your cash buyer database of real buyers that are going to make decisions. I mean, that's a huge asset for you. So building the cash buyer database is absolutely critical. You got to do it every single single day. Build it with real estate agents, build it with other investors, build it with people that are out there that are high net worth people, or people that are highly paid professionals that need to do something with their cash because the stock market keeps punching them in the face. So, they got to do something.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, well, that's helpful. And I guess something that I'm really, really focusing on is building systems and scaling. I think, Paul, you wanted to ask a few questions related to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, in my head, I have, I can imagine how, but like, how do you scale the wholesaling business, and what are you doing to scale your business specifically? And then like kind of go into, what does your team look like?
Yeah. So with any business, with any wholesaling business, there's a couple kind of common characters or common roles that need to be filled. We call our salespeople acquisition managers. This is when we get a lead from, we've got people making calls for us all day, right? So I've got Americans living in Central and South America calling from their house and having really good conversations with these distressed property owners. And the beautiful thing about hiring people that are expatriates or people that are living outside of the continental US is there's not a lot of job opportunities. So one, they show up, which is hard to do with these soft people that we have in the continental US. We're just soft. We're just softer than other people because there's more opportunities for us. So these people are living there. They show up. They are American, so it's not like they sound foreign or sound really off-putting. They sound like your neighbor, which is really important. And they need to make money, so they're going to be consistent. They're going to stick around long term. Those are really the main advantages. So those people call when those leads come in. My acquisition managers will then follow up with leads until we get the signed contract. Once we do, I have a disposition manager that sells it and builds. He builds my cash buyer database, and he also sells all the properties and works with the buyers to sell our to buy our deals. So, I mean, that's really it. I've got a lead manager in there that just makes sure that the quality of our leads is strong. She pulls all the lists, organizes all the data, pulls all the reports, and that's really it. You can run it pretty basic. It doesn't have to be a huge company. From a scaling side, if you want to scale the business, just go to different markets. That's it.
Is it hard? I mean, so are you only in the Phoenix area right now?
I'm in all of Arizona, but bread and butter is Phoenix. Do some on the outskirts, but from what I've seen, it takes about 6 to 8 months to understand a new market, and I just don't have the patience for it. And we do well here, and I net a good amount, so I'm not going to try to torpedo my business and my productivity by scaling to a different market. Every time I see people doing that, they get crushed. So I'm not messing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've messed around with that too, and so there's a lot of different like schools of thought with land investing. We think that sticking in your own zone and building your buyers list in a specific market is really the best strategy to go about it. So it's refreshing to hear that's your perspective with house wholesaling too. So it's very similar.
How many markets are you guys in?
So we are in. I mean, so right now we focus primarily in one specific area, but we have property in, I would say, I don't know, 6, 7 different states. It's a lot. Everything is super virtual with the land niche, just because everything's done behind a computer screen. You're not actually going on site to any of the properties. So yeah, so we really just try to find the best markets, the hottest markets for this niche, and try to hit those.
Awesome. And then, do you have to build a cash buyer database in each market?
No,
you have big national buyers, or how does that work?
No, I mean, we sell them like directly to individuals who will they'll go and put a camper on there, or they basically finance it through us. So we're talking directly with the buyers, and I would say 90 to 95% of our deals right now are terms buyers, because at least in our niche, it's way easier to find someone that has, $500 to $1,000 a month that can just pay that out over a couple of years, versus finding someone that has 30 grand on the spot. That is strictly in the land business that we've noticed. So we'd rather go after the bigger pool of people than like a smaller pool. And for us, that helps us. Our turn times are so low. I mean, our inventory doesn't stay any longer than 60 days at the most.
Crazy. And you guys are closing on every single deal. So you have to own them, right? To do
Yeah, we own all of them. If everything goes as planned, we're going to purchase probably 750 lots this year.
Right. So do you guys raise funds for that? I know that this is kind of I mean, do you guys, I'm sure that your audience is interested and you guys probably talk about it all the time, but that's a ton of money, a ton of capital that you have to be able to buy this land and then turn it, right?
Yeah, we've built up over the years, and we put all of our money in, and we're going full steam ahead, and that's kind of like that will, because originally when Willie had started or had his business and I had my business, I was like, you realize how big this opportunity is. Let's team up. Let's make this 10 times the size. I'll put in money, you put in money, and we can really make this thing go. And it's going.
Yeah, so there's a couple things too. Well, one is that the price points that you could buy lots at. So, I mean, the lots that you're buying, if they're closer to town, you're probably spending, I don't know, 30, 40 grand. The lots that we're buying, we could buy, I mean, we've bought lots for as little as $500. I've bought a lot for $20 in the past. But and generally speaking, it's less than $5 grand for a lot. So we could buy these things all day at that price point. And then secondly, we focus on when we sell our properties on terms, we make sure we get our money back in a short enough time frame to where we could actually grow and scale the thing. Because if we weren't getting our money back for a couple of years, we'd be out of luck pretty much.
Yeah, the runway would shorten, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, and we looked at it from doing a seller financing standpoint, but it was just like now, I mean, you guys must have your systems locked in, because I just don't want to be married to one of these buyers for, years at a time, and you guys have, 100, right? Or a couple hundred, or what was it?
The great part about it is like, it's like they could just put their credit card in on our website, and it just and so you're always gonna have a couple people that are gonna give you headaches and problems, but that's the nature of any business, right? So we just there's a few people that are like they're a pain in the butt, and we're like, what should we get? Like, we can just get rid of them if they're not paying. That's the beauty of it. And if they're paying, great. So it's really pretty hands off, to be honest with you. It's not as burden as you think.
And you have like a merchant account that processes all these payments?
Yep. We got we do. We actually have two in case something happens. So we've locked that down. We could talk about that
because we looked at it, and I network. I have some buddies that are doing it, not on the scale that you guys are, but that's been the issue, right? They first had it at PayPal, and then PayPal didn't like it. Then they had it at Stripe or something, and the Stripe was goofy or something was going on. So
if you know how to position your business in a legal way that within their terms of service, you can get a lot of things done.
And I assume that's in your guys' course.
That's right. So we put out a
new course. See that plug there?
I appreciate the plug. What I'm doing here? We'll get to your plug in a second. But before we get into that, I want to talk about how's everything going in the environment in the wholesaling world with coronavirus going on. How's that impacting your business and the environment in general?
It's been incredible. I mean, so instantly, starting early March, our contact rate doubled. So contact rate is essentially how many people do you call and how many of them answer. So 10% contact rate is phenomenal. We were at about 6, now we're at 12. So it's like incredible the amount of people that now because I've been doing it years, I have a database of people that either had a long timeline or they said no or whatever. And all of a sudden now they're saying yes. And all of a sudden now they're reducing the price. So it just depends. I think a lot of people that were limping along with their properties and that they can kind of get through it. If they lost their job or if they got furloughed or whatever else, they don't have that opportunity anymore. So they need to make these decisions faster, which has been great because now they can be realistic about their problem that they have, which is these terrible, ugly houses that they have, just totally run down. And we get the opportunity to help them out. So it's been incredible. The biggest thing is for the first time in like 4 years, the wholesaling business can't abuse cash buyers. We actually have to have some customer service. We actually have to let them know that we love them and respect them, right? For the last 4 years, you lock up a property, you send it out, and so it gets bid up and everything's done. So you don't really have to, hold the hands or take out, go to lunch or buy a beer for your cash buyers because they were just always constantly knocking down our door. Now, a third of them to a half of them disappeared overnight, the cash buyers. And so the ones that are left are the true ones, are the ones that are still seeing opportunities. And so we have to take care of them. And that's been the biggest change. Easier to lock up deals, and more attention to the customer service and the relationship and communication that we have with our cash buyers.
So do you see that you're going to have to, from what you're saying, it sounds like it's easier for you to grab the properties, but do you see that you're going to have to like hold them for longer?
No, when you're wholesaling, you don't close on them, right? You don't own them. You just lock up a property with contract and sell the contract. But our inspection periods that we have are longer, just because access to property is different. Not a lot of people want strangers coming through and breathing in their house. You know what I mean? That's why we catered a lot of our efforts to go after vacant properties, because there's no concerns there. People can go out there, people can check them out, people aren't worried about getting other people sick. So it's just it's definitely different. You definitely have to have a longer period of time to make sure that you can sell that opportunity. But if you know what you're doing, it's not a big deal.
Cool. So that's kind of what we're seeing as well. So I guess it's kind of a wait and see for us. But I was just kind of curious to see your perspective on the disposition aspect of it, because I don't know how many new house flippers are undertaking projects when the environment's not going to be super certain in the future.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, I would say within wholesaling, I know there's some people who take down all the properties and some people that only assign. Do you do a mixture of both, or how does
it
that
depends.
work?
I try not to, and anybody watching or listening, definitely have a conversation with your CPA. But there is a difference between fee income that you get from assignments and from short-term capital gains. So talk to your CPA and see what they say about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I want to jump in really fast. Awesome comment someone just left for you, Brent. Joseph Yuli Mirando said, TTP, Brent coached me to multiple six-figure months. That's awesome. And then he said, Willie, can you please explain the documents and provisions you have in place for dispositions? Buyers are not signed over the deeds, correct?
So by the way, guys, Joseph right there crushes cold calling land deals.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely crushes it.
He mixed the worlds.
Phenomenal. Yeah, he did. He really did. And he inspired me to go after land as well. And it was really, really, really a lot of fun and exciting. And we did a lot of deals. But I like big deals. I just like bigger deals. So it's still something that we absolutely do. But what I did is, guys, I stopped going for the stuff that's rural or stuff like on the outskirts. And I really focused on stuff on the bubble of Phoenix and in town. And those have been our bigger deals. And we really like that. But I'm telling you, I had probably said 100 times on videos, on YouTube, on podcasts, go after vacant land in town. And the people that do make money. And Joseph is a great testament to it. Multiple months that he did over six figures wholesaling land and houses. He's phenomenal.
Okay, so you got some star students. He asked what the documents and provisions we put in place on disposition. So when we sell a property, we usually sell it on terms, so owner financing. And so the documents that we have a purchase agreement, which pretty much states that the buyer intends to purchase the property at the given price, at the given terms, and a promissory note that states that the buyer promises to repay the balance over time. And so they're legal documents, 7 to 10 pages, and uploaded to signnow.com, and just the VAs just send it directly to the buyer. And it's pretty automated. Once they sign it, they're free to use the property. So they are able to use the property while they're making payments. And so they make low monthly payments like they're buying a car, and we make it pretty easy for them.
So do you guys have something in there that it makes it quick to get do they not get the deed to the property until they complete all the payments? Is that it?
Right. So when they
So
buy,
you guys own it. You guys own all these lots until people pay you off in full.
right.
Correct.
So
I
yeah,
think that's important to let everybody know because that's the tough part, right? You like give somebody the deed and all of a sudden they stop paying and now you have to like foreclose or do something weird and it's like, oh my God, what's the process? And each state's different and it's months and now they put a hold on any foreclosure. It's whatever. But
yeah.
that's smart, guys. Yeah.
No, I agree. The niche literally wouldn't exist if you had to put a deed of trust in place where you're getting like a lien on the property. So it's very fortunate we do these land contracts where you don't have to. So yeah, we take the title, and if they default, and then they've got 40 days pretty much is kind of the grace period. If they don't make their payment within 40 days and they're not contacting us, they're not communicating with us, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to go through a formal
Yeah.
foreclosure process. So it's a hell of a lot easier. So
Yeah.
cool. And so I guess if someone's interested, any of our viewers are interested, they're interested in land or household wholesaling or just getting involved in real estate. What are some actionable steps they could take today to get started with wholesaling?
Well, there's a ton. I mean, talktopeople.com is my website. We have a ton of free resources there, free courses. Obviously, I'm going to try to pull you into the TTP family because I want to work with the best people one-on-one. But if you guys just want to use any of the resources for free and check that out, definitely do it. I mean, it's simple, guys. Get a list of properties that, I mean, you could literally go today and get a list of 20 properties in your neighborhood or your area or your community and get it skip traced and get the phone numbers and just call them up and ask them if they'd consider an offer on their property. And that's the start. The start is having conversations with distressed property owners. And then once you start building up your skills because you're doing it, because you're having conversations with distressed property owners, you're going to get more comfortable, you're going to get more confident, and you're going to go from that place of faith, which is great. I believe that I can get a deal. I believe I can get a deal, to it being a fact and you actually getting paid and money being in your bank account from a real estate deal. Fact in this instant is way better than faith, and you gotta cross that bridge as quick as possible so that you can build the momentum and keep this thing going. Especially if it's like a side business for you or a side hustle or whatever it is, and you want to replace it. You want this to be your full time. You need to start getting the leads in your pipeline, the leads filled up. Start getting consistent deals, and then make the decision to get into this business full time. And it's the best business ever. It really is. It truly gives you the opportunity to have a freedom of schedule because of the opportunities that come along. And I don't care how much money you make. If you don't have freedom of schedule, you're going to be miserable. So that's the whole point of this thing, is to get to the point where you have a proven path to financial freedom. But more importantly, it gives you that opportunity to have a freedom of schedule.
Yeah. And so I just want to emphasize that when I first got started in real estate, I thought that I was going to go down the wholesaling path, and so I went through. I learned the whole space, and Brent and Wholesaling Inc. Those are the top dogs in the space, and I know Brent's really kind of the face of that brand, and he's got the TTP there. So I mean, I really think it's a no-brainer for anyone. If you're interested in wholesaling, there's no better place to learn than learning from Brent. So how do they
talktopeople.com? Yeah, talktopeople.com. Real easy.
Cool.
TTP, right? Talktopeople.com. Check it out. There's a ton of stuff there. Join the TTP Insider. It's just a name and email, and you get all. I mean, it's everything you would need. Yep.
Cool. And what about your Instagram, Facebook page?
Just Brent Daniels _TTP, and we put it. We have a lot of fun with the Instagram. That's really cool. But most of the resources and instruction, you guys it'll go either to the YouTube channel, Brent Daniels Real Estate on YouTube, and if you want everything organized, it's at talktopeople.com.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on today. It was awesome chatting with you.
Thanks for having me on here, guys. That's incredible. I love that you're building your audience through giving them great content and great instruction, and best of luck with the course. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Brent.